Hola, everyone. Welcome to Open, coming to you from BronxNet Studios. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host, Café con Leche, every Friday. And this Friday is a very special episode, for it is that time of the year again. You know what time it is? It's your girl's birthday. And to share in this event this year, I'm bringing to you a healing and alignment show like no other. For the next hour, we will be covering healing amongst the elements with alternative modalities, bringing to you light, love, and nourishment for the soul. So, sit back y preparate. All this and more is headed your way on this Open Friday presents Transformation Stations. Hello and welcome to Open, everyone. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host, y Café con Leche, for the next hour, coming to you from BronxNet Studios. Always inviting you to get social with us online, tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV, and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, don't forget, follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So, on my birthday episode, I want to share with you, over the summer of 2022, yours truly was commissioned by the Mayor's Office Neighborhood Safety Initiatives East Harlem Coordinator Eugene Rodriguez to create and design what I titled Transformation Stations, Urban Healing Amongst the Elements. It was a space to learn multiple self-care practices through a unique experience of musical tents. Let's take a look. And so here we are, and Eugene Rodriguez from Neighborhood Safety Initiatives, somebody I've known for very many years, we collaborated on this, and it's quite the event. I would love for you to share with our audience everything that went into this.
Well, it was a lot. I will say that. Like Rhina said, we had a discussion initially about a couple of months ago to talk about a healing event. I had an idea, I had looked up some things, had this idea for like this passport type of a situation that we wanted to go through different stations. And I spoke to Rhina and said, listen, can you make this happen? Can you get me a person who does this? Can you get me a person who does that? So this healing event is kind of a toolkit for our young kids, our young people in the community to be able to deal with conflict and issues in a more holistic and positive way.
Beautiful. And here to share more in studio is Neighborhood Safety Initiatives East Harlem Coordinator Eugene Rodriguez. Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Welcome, welcome.
It's good to be here.
Good to be with you. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for your patience. I mean, we did this in the summer, and now is when we're showing it to everyone. But it is still something that is very much needed within our society. So let's talk a little bit about what inspired you to even create the initiative.
Well, I mean, I think for us, we do a lot of work based on gun violence and healing from trauma and things like that in the East Harlem community. Well, in New York City as a whole, but for East Harlem, we've been experiencing a lot of gun violence. And we were approached through a grant that we received to do some healing events in the community. And we looked at doing separate healing events in 3 developments in East Harlem, Wagner houses, Jefferson houses, and Johnson houses. And those were separate events. And we've noticed that a lot of what's been going on in the community is like a separation of developments, a beef between one development and another. So we wanted to work on something that would bring these 3 developments together, but also give, residents and just, people from East Harlem ways to deal with trauma in a more positive and healing type of a way. So that was kind of why I reached out to you to try to develop this, Transformation Stations event so that we could bring those types of, mentalities to people from the community.
So, here's the thing. I'm bringing it in, like here now, I guess, pre-holiday season, because this is the time of the year that I find that people get melancholy. And so, again, even though what we just experienced, you guys, it was an event that took place over the summer, I kind of wanted to share how we're all in this together and how collectively we need to overcome what we've all endured these past couple of years. And so there's different variations in which we can address it, right? But the idea is to arm you with certain tools. And so from June to where we are now, like, what has transpired?
I mean, we've continued to do the work. We still working with young people, providing them with, just opportunities. We've been doing some programming. We just did a program during the summer with some young people from those 3 developments where they looked at open spaces within their developments and redesigned them from a youth perspective. So, and we'll be continuing to do like events and programming like that with young people moving forward. But the healing event was something that I felt was really, really special because it was something that was very different than what's the norm in East Harlem, or just the norm in like this type of
in
realm.
Like street fair
Exactly.
gatherings and or job fairs or just community gatherings.
Exactly.
And I appreciate you for trusting my process and trusting that it was going to be different, right? Because anything I put my hands on is different.
Exactly. And I mean, and that was honestly, the reason why I reached out to you. I had did the 3 in the separate developments, and there was something that was missing. Like we were able to do one piece here and one piece there and one piece there. But I was like, I wanted to be able to bring all of these healing modalities together in one space. And I thought to myself, who could I tap to bring this, to connect these people and bring this event to life? And the first person popped into my head was you. So I reached out to you initially to see if you had a connection to some people, and you were like, oh, no, this is what I do, so I can put this whole thing together for you, and you don't have to worry. And I was honestly very, very relieved at that point, because I was thinking that I'm going to have to call these people and coordinate and do all that background stuff. And being able to just tap you and the team, the wonderful healers that you brought out that day, it was just incredible. I thank you for that whole ride,
Yeah. That excites me so much. And we have a few that are going to participate in today's show, but I do want to mention the healers. And I would love to know what you walked away with, having experienced some of it yourself, even though you were on the outskirts, observing. I know there was a lot of teens that participated, which it was geared towards the younger generation. However, it became open to everyone because everyone needs it, right? So we had Jeanette Torruella, who is doing mandala art. We had Iris Soto, who is actually facilitating the art of smudging. We also had Joanne Jimenez, who brought in the essential oils and taught the artistry as well as the healing aspect of essential oils. We had Rebecca, who we're going to meet later, Gitana Torres, who had the cocoon of transformation. We also had Isabel Rojas Lopez, who did candle making, and we had Alba Hernandez, who is doing yoga, and she actually offered chair yoga for those of you who were not into like the full out yoga, so she accommodated everyone's needs. And I believe that, and then of course we had Dr. Drum on the drum, but you're going to get to meet him later because he's going to be drumming for us here in studio. And we also had DJ De La Ceiba on the ones and twos, just providing global sounds that were also healing intended. So the entire event itself was an experience.
Yeah, and I mean, I think for me, there were a couple of things that I took away from the event. I mean, first was just, the pride in my culture, being able to really like witness my culture from a different perspective. I'm used to coming out and seeing, Southside and eating the food and doing all of that type of stuff, but to really interact with, healers who were intentional in connecting, not just what they did as far as healing for your, mind, body, and soul, but also connecting it back to the culture, so that the whole event was like a cultural, like festival type of a situation. So I think for me, that was one of the things that I, initially took away from the event. The other thing was just like really looking at the different types of ways that a person can heal, because sometimes you find one thing, sometimes it's therapy and you're into that and you're like, this is what it is. Sometimes it's smudging, sometimes it may be whatever it might be. But I mean, to see everything in one setting was really inspiring, because it's like, sometimes I feel like when we go through our mental issues, a lot of us feel like it's just me, individual. No one else is feeling this type of stuff, and I'm weird for going through these types of like feelings or whatever it might be. But to see that, number one, it's not weird. These are things that almost everybody kind of goes through, and you have to find a way that works for you to release that tension.
Right.
And I think that was something that was ultimately really, really dope for me to see, is that there are other options out here. You don't have to just go to a therapist or pop some pills,
Right.
which is usually the first thing people tell you.
Right.
Or go take some medication.
Right.
But these natural ways to heal are
Right.
things that our people have been doing forever. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
And it makes sense. I'm like, it seems that it had to work in some way, shape, or form. And just seeing it out there was just super inspiring.
Oh my gosh, that makes me so happy, because I think we all left there feeling super elevated. And I'm not just saying that because we created the event. Like, it's something that is very much needed. And coming from this place of collective healing, which is the intention, is, the reality is that nobody's suggesting that you don't go see a therapist. We're just offering these alternative ways to tend to yourself. And the truth is like, we've all been dealing with a pandemic for almost 3 years now. There's
Yep.
some form of PTSD we're all trying to break through and or process, right? And the first way to do so is by finding means and ways to release, right? And so that's what we offered. We
Yep.
offered different ways of tending to yourself, being with yourself, and releasing.
Yeah, but I think the other thing to it, kind of like I said a little while ago, was also that connection to our ancestors.
Ancestors,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? I think
Yes.
that also is a big key, and it was something for me that was important to bring to the youth.
Yeah.
I feel like our young people are kind of missing some of that connection to our ancestors, our past, and like the beauty of our culture. So that whole event, while it was a healing event and focused on that, also served as in that purpose as well. So
Yes.
again, I think that day was incredible for multiple reasons.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing that up. And we are going to discuss the connection to ancestry more within the show. So we definitely encourage you to stay with us. And also, before we go, I just want to mention that we are currently in development of just remounting this in June of 2023.
Yep.
And in June of 2023, we are actually hoping to expand it and make it bigger and open it up to everyone. Because initially it was created to serve the next generation, because we want to teach them and arm them. But what we found was that everybody needed it.
Yeah, it's an important situation. I think again, the beauty is we're not looking at just doing a one-off. We want to continue this and really make it into something that can be embraced by the community as a whole. So yeah, we will be doing this again. Hopefully, maybe 2 times a year.
Yes.
That's really what our goal is going to be.
Yeah, we're trying to do summer solstice and fall equinox.
Yep. And I mean, again, it's a needed situation. It's a needed situation.
And well, I appreciate you making the time to come here in
Of
studio and share more with us and leave us hopeful, right? Because I want to make sure that that you guys have this accessible to you as you watch the entire show, especially during this holiday season. So thank you again, Eugene Rodriguez, Neighborhood Safety Initiatives, East Harlem Coordinator. And if you're interested in more information on the work they do, you can visit coreinnovation.org. Stay tuned. There's more Open Friday Presents Transformation Stations when we return.
Is it time yet?
It's time.
Pasta and time for dinner.
Oh, terrific.
Pasta dinner.
Donating pet food is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. We are celebrating my birthday, celebrating you. And so our next guest served as healing facilitators, offering unique experiences and education about alternative self-care practices. We're going to take a look at their work in their transformation stations. This day is filled with healing and community and love. Oh my, isn't that soothing just to watch? Well, here now to share more is Cocoon of Transformation and Healing Through the Home creator, Rebecca Gitana Torres. And along with her, we have Light Your Way, Self-Love and Self-Care Starts With You creator, Isabel Rojas Lopez. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, ladies. I know it's going to be a little challenging because one's over there on the West Coast and the other one's upstate, but I'm so happy you ladies are able to join us today. Isabel, I know I introduced you through your Transformation Station title, but I forgot to mention that you are Healing Looks Good on You too, candle business. So I just want to make sure that we acknowledge that business and service that you offer as well. Pero ladies, once again, I can't thank you enough for being here today. What did you think just looking at the work that we did over the summer? Rebecca.
It brought me back to the sun, to the earth below us, right? That lawn at that park was so part of everything that we did and really held us in that moment. And just our collective energy together, it's something that I will never forget.
I know, and how we opened up with the circle and you actually blew the shell to the four corners.
Yes, the guamo, our Taino guamo, our horn, and just opened it up. So powerful that day.
I know, I'm looking at your smile. Isabel, your take on it and experiencing it right now, watching it.
It just took me back. Like Rebecca said, it took me back. It was just such an amazing moment to be in that community, to be with you ladies. It was a great experience. I mean, I could not have stopped talking about it. I left there feeling so good and so inspired.
So my question to you ladies, right, when I put out the call to you, right, because I chose you all deliberately, like after having taken on the task, first let's start with what compelled you to say yes?
I think for me, what compelled me to say yes is it's an extension of what I literally do every day. I'm a full-time transformational guide. I create safe spaces for people to cocoon and transform. And I've been offering the Cocoon of Transformation series and experience on the East Coast and the West Coast for several years, and virtually since the pandemic for several years. And when you asked me, I was like, yes, 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 because I know the energy that you bring and the intention that you always put behind the things that you do. And so I was down. And anytime that I can be in community, I feel like I won the lotto.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, how well put. Isabel, your turn. I know. I'm like, let's have a love fest all over again, ladies.
Honestly say I was honored. I was so honored to connect with you again. I know that we had connected in the past, and it was just such an honor. And also to be in the community, right? Because through my candles, I want to provide a sense of self-care, self-love. So just bringing that to Harlem was a blessing.
Yeah, I think for me, seeing people, number one, be surprised that something like this was being offered in the community, right? And approaching with a curious mind and kind of surrendering to the moment and opening their hearts and being able to, at least in my tent, my Cocoon of Transformation tent, allow themselves to be held energetically by me in that moment, allowing themselves to be held by the earth below, to surrender to their breath, to surrender to receiving medicine, right? And anything that connects us to the Great Spirit, to a higher power, is medicine. And so, yeah, and so the ultimate result that I saw was people literally rejoicing, feeling thankful, feeling lighter, gratitude, joy, and overall just like that sense of like I'm loved and I am supported.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Isabel, and in your station, because you had people making candles, rather, you had them designing their candles that were made, and you also provided these lovely affirmations that they were able to choose themselves. Can you share what your experience was in that exchange?
Well, it was really, like, like Rebecca said, everyone knowing that it was for free. They were like, this is for free. And we're like, yeah, this is for free for you. And having them choose their words. So they got to decorate these tins, right? And they got to decorate them and choose an affirmation. And it was just so beautiful, especially to see the youth, the words that they chose. I am worthy. I am loved. I am powerful. That to me was just so powerful in itself, because you had a child as young as 2 choosing words, all the way to someone as old, as young as 80 choosing those affirmation words, and them taking their self-care package, because I provided these bags, like with all my products, they come with affirmations, was just to see their faces light up when they chose their word and when they saw what was inside that bag for them to take with them.
Right, because that's what they needed in that moment. And that's actually how we were all working together as a unified force. And so, before we run out of time, I do want to share with you ladies that an announcement was made prior to this segment with regards to us mounting this again in June of 2023. And on top of that, a surprise, surprise, twice a year was announced on air, one for summer solstice and the other one for fall equinox. So I just want to know your takes on wait, before you get all super excited, because yes, you should be super excited, but I want to get your take on how we originally intended to do this for the next generation, and then how it became everybody, and how everyone was like, oh, I need this, I need that, and what that looked like for you in the moment, because we had to open it up to everyone.
Yeah, I think setting our intention originally for young people, but then also really setting the intention for fluidity, that was, I think, a main ingredient in this entire experience. We weren't attached to any one outcome or any one way of things flowing and being, which is why even when we had to wait for our tents and blah, 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 we were in such divine flow. And I think that that's such a lesson for all of us, right? You can have an intention of what you want to create and give from your heart, but always leave room for the higher powers to utilize your presence in that moment and don't be attached to what you think when there's greater forces at play. And so we were definitely into the young people coming in. But I think what that day showed us was, as a community,
Right.
all ages, we need to gather together and be good with being together. Like, that's actually the real tribal way, the real way that we've always done things. Like, the young cannot teach tradition to the old. Like, the young people also bring an energy to the older people that reinvigorates, reminds them, inspires. So as a community coming together and being able to heal together and serve together was just, I mean,
It was divine. It was divine. It was divine. I know. I love it. I love that you're bringing in the intergenerational aspect in your response, because yes, it just, organically ended up that way, and we
yeah.
went with it.
I think it was
And
a
that's really,
testament to
again,
Yeah. Isabel?
yeah.
And I think it was a testament to our energy of how we started, of how everybody had that energy of what we put out there, right? And I think that it just became something much bigger than us when we were there. And we set that great intention to begin with. And we also showed the community that everything that we had to offer, it's within your reach. It
Right.
was within their reach. It was powerful to see them just going from station to station and being open to the process with us.
Yeah, and what was your take on that, right? Because that was experimental within itself, and I know that was. It must have been a little exhausting for you ladies using your energy so frequently, right? Within a different group, we want to say a half an hour, but that we don't necessarily know if that
No.
was the exact time, because we weren't
It was 15
operating according to
minutes.
that. It was 15 minutes, and even
Yeah.
still, it seemed like we were just operating according to divine time, really.
Yeah.
It was
It was
energy.
incredible.
No, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think it was good energy, and I think that it didn't feel exhausting. It felt really good. Of course, at the end, of course, we all practice. One thing I always stress is self-care, right? So at the end, I needed a lot of self-care for myself. But I think that just that good energy, even driving home that hour and a half, it just felt so good because that was what we projected in that space. And we made that space work really well.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. It was a lovely day. Mother Nature cooperated with us as well, and I will say honestly, I was exhausted after it, right? But in my own self care practice, I went home and I soaked in an Epsom salt bath and just shut it all down, and honored myself. I mean, that's not what we were teaching and or guiding people to do. But the idea is that as facilitators, as fellow healers, we also have to take care of ourselves. So I was just curious as to what you felt leaving. And yes, I think we were all rejuvenated in the exchange, but then there was something also depleting in having to be on like that for so long, for
Yeah.
such a long period of time.
Yeah. And I think that, whether it's us there as a facilitator, right, holding these spaces, or whether you're watching and you're a teacher or you're in healthcare, like, there's so many of us that are giving all the time. And it is exhausting to show up and be present, right? When you're completely being present for another human being, that takes a lot out of you. And so that whole day I was barefoot on the lawn. So getting that grounding energy, drinking a lot of water, asking for, that divine grace to flow through you, are all tools that we can use to strengthen ourselves and being there for others, getting good rest after, never forgetting our sleep as those who give, and good nourishment, eating foods from the sun and all that good stuff.
Beautiful. You ladies, thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you for making yourselves available to share in my birthday episode, and for being givers, as which is what we're doing. I think it's so important and actually crucial at this period of time, because during the holiday season, people tend to go into dark places, and I'm hoping we're sprinkling sunshine. So thank you for making the time. I know you're in a different time zone, but yet you still made yourself available. So I really, really appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you for
Barbara.
having.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. I'm going to light this
Happy
birthday
birthday.
candle. Happy birthday, beautiful.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Don't worry. I got your light in my house already, but I look forward to the next candle that you offer. So thank you
Yes.
for the
Sending you a
birthday
happy
blessings, Mama. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Happy
Love
birthday.
Thank you, Rebecca. All right, you guys, once again, Rebecca Itana Torres, Cocoon of Transformation and Healing through the Home creator, and Isabel Rojas, founder of Light Your Way. This is actually the name of the transformation station, which was Light Your Way. Self-love and self-care starts with you. Her business is Healing Looks Great on You. And if you're interested in more information on both ladies, you can visit RebeccaHitana.com and HealingLooksGreatOnYou.shop. All right, stay tuned. Bobby C's special mental health sports roundup is coming up next.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how sketch is vaping? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes, look at that. You didn't turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you have to get it trending. Right, Backpack Kid?
Let's do it.
First, invite your kid to do the vape talk. Let's try this. All right.
Why is he here?
Yeah, I gotta get it trending, honey.
Come on.
Let's go.
Oh, honey, can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
I see a lot of your friends vaping.
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
Thank you so much.
Fostering a pet for a friend or neighbor can keep families together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
Mental health awareness is an important cause for us here at BronxNet. During the pandemic, we featured so many guests that spoke on several impactful topics that many of us are dealing with inside of our own homes. The sports world is not immune. Legendary Major League Baseball umpire John Hirschbeck opened up to us about losing his two sons, something that no parent should ever have to deal with.
You know, John, how have you been able to be so resilient in life? I mean, you talk about curveballs in life. You have come back from so many things that a lot of people wouldn't be able to come back from.
Well, obviously, the hardest thing is losing both of our sons. And to that, I tell friends, I say, you know, you have to make a choice in life, and it's not something you can do immediately after, but at some point, come to terms and say, okay, I can let it change me as a person and be of no use to my wife, to my other daughters, to friends, to family, or say, you know what, things happen in life, and it's not that God does them, it's God's strength, I think, that helps us get through them. But you eventually have to say, why not me? And with that, you just say, okay, no day is ever going to be the same, but I'm just going to take them, make the most of them as they come, and do the best I can, be the best person I can. So the Magical Michael came about, and we work closely with Akron Children's Hospital. We've donated over $250,000 since the Magical Michael came about. Our theme, our motto is, our mission statement is helping families endure the curveballs of life. And with that, we've done a lot of programs to help inner city children, underprivileged, and a lot with children with disabilities. We've done everything from build ramps, wheelchair ramps, to making handicapped bathrooms. We've gotten some companion dogs for some children. We do a special Christmas thing for the entire families of about 5 or 6 groups at Christmas time. So it just goes on and on. We've done a lot in the community.
Like Hirschbeck, baseball great Dave Parker is no stranger to the big stage. Parker, a fall classic hero and one of the game's most prolific sluggers, a larger-than-life figure, struggles physically these days. He says that's life with Parkinson's.
I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about the Dave Parker 39 Foundation, an organization that's focused on finding a cure for Parkinson's disease.
Well, I have a foundation called the 39 Foundation, and I got involved with Parkinson's organization about 7 years ago. And I've been doing fundraisers, golf tournaments. We raised $48,000 in October for a golf tournament. And we want to emphasize research with the dollars that we raise. And hopefully we get lucky and find a cure or something to ease the pain of Parkinson, because you never know what you're going to get. You wake up one morning and you feel perfectly normal, and you come back and wake up the next day and your legs ain't working right, you know, and you're trembling. You got various things, just like I froze then. But this is the kind of stuff you got to deal with Parkinson.
Like you and I, sometimes sports legends have to deal with illnesses to other loved ones. Formula One great Sir Jackie Stewart has been taking care of his wife for years as she deals with dementia. Stewart's foundation is aiming to help her and many others coping with dementia.
My mom, this is my favorite picture of her. She passed away in 2019 with dementia and COPD. And as you mentioned, your wife of nearly 60 years, Helen, is coping with dementia. Tell us about your charity, Race Against Dementia, and your goals for today and the future.
Well, the fact that after over 45 years, there's no cure or no preventive medicine, you've just said it. That's ridiculous. I mean, people go to the moon now. People go into space now, and yet we cannot find a cure for dementia. Now, this up here is more complicated than any other piece of kit in the world, no doubt about it. However, having said that, the medical profession to some extent are somewhat guilty. They've done a great job with cancer, but because it's been so complicated, because it's such a long, different business of trying to get a cure for it, they've given up, basically. I mean, there's much more money goes into cancer research because it's a lot of public giving money than goes in to dementia. I mean, we have trouble raising enough money, you know, whether it's $10 or whether it's $1 million, you know, to just get that so that we can get something different found out. Now, we're using Formula One as an example because Formula One is without doubt the fastest problem-solving activity in the world. I mean, there'll be a Grand Prix this weekend in Portugal. And after that Grand Prix, there'll be 6 major changes in that car within 10 days. Designed, manufactured, and tested. Now that's change. It's a terrible illness. And it's the biggest killer now that we have. And you know what? Now the projections are that for every 3 people that are born today, 1 is going to have dementia. And we don't even have the homes to accommodate these people. And most people don't have the money to get those people into homes.
And even Super Bowl winning quarterbacks sometimes deal with things that you would not expect. In another touching interview, Super Bowl MVP Mark Rippon talked about considering taking his own life and what it means to him now to help others through suicide prevention.
You know, suicide ideology is it runs rampant in our military, and our military is you know, the guys that Chad Pfeiffer and Andrew Batchelder are playing in this golf tournament are my heroes. You know, I mean, we got to do what we do in this world because of our servicemen and women, and to know that 23 of them take their lives every day it's hard to fathom, and to know that I was in a bad place and thought of that. You know, I mean, the one wonderful thing about life and the modalities and things that you have now is I have grandkids, you know, and I have they kind of, you know, bring things into perspective, and it doesn't mean that you're ever in the clear. You got to be able to utilize some of the other modalities. I've done transcranial magnetic stimulation, which is TMS treatment. Our military use it. Most are VA hospitals. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy chambers are another one that's you use to try to get yourself balanced. And the one thing that happens, especially in a pandemic, is the mental health. I mean, our mental health and depression has been it's going to be out the roof. I mean, we're not through it yet, and it's just going to be insurmountable in the years ahead. And I think if we can get on top of it, and we also understand that it takes money, and the first thing that usually happens is that we cut mental health costs and mental health providers, and we need our mental health providers there for our fellow man and woman to make sure that we get through the pandemic and help each and every one of the people that need help. And the other thing is too is that there is help out there. Coming out and being vocal and sharing my story, it has helped others. And if it just helps one person, I feel and truly believe, Bobby, that's what we can do, and that's what I want to do. And that's I've had too many people in my life that was close to me, and one being my young cousin who played for the Vancouver Canucks and the Winnipeg Jets, Rick Rippon, take his life, and along with Wade Belak and Aaron Bugard, and in the NHL and all across the globe. I mean, we have people that need our help. So I just think it is a time that I appreciate you bringing it up, and that we can help those that really do need the help. Thank you.
From our family to yours, we are here for you. Reach out to us or someone you trust if you need help. As you can see, even the greatest of sports legends sometimes need help too. I'm Bobby C. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Open. Our last guest is Dr. Drum, known as one of the top national Afro-Rican bomba artists. Bronx native Dr. Drum is a nationally highly acclaimed professional onstage performer, educator in Pan-African, Caribbean, and Latin culture, and is a self-taught percussionist of Afro-Caribbean rhythms. He was also the heartbeat of transformation stations, leading with his bomba. Dr. Drum brought life and vigor to the event and served as our transitional sound. And through our healing experience together, we also found connection to our ancestors through the rhythmic sounds of the beat, which was just what the doctor prescribed. And joining us to share more, please welcome Dr. Drum.
Thank you, and happy birthday, Rhina.
Well, happy birthday to you too, fellow Sag.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. We celebrated together last year, and it's just a beautiful thing to celebrate life, wouldn't you say?
Yes, it is.
Thank you for making it here in studio.
Oh no, it's an honor. It's an honor to be here, especially what we have in common here with our art. Yeah.
Yeah, I know we've been at this for quite some time, right?
Wow.
I mean, you and I, we can go at it.
Wow.
I mean, you even accompanied me at Lincoln Center this year.
Yes.
With Sonia Manzano.
Yes, that's right.
Which was its own experience.
Yes.
Because you were traveling to the West Coast, no less.
Wow.
In between our rehearsals. I mean, we're not here to talk about that, but we are here to talk about our collective healing and the element that you always bring to the table and or the environment. And so your generosity with this sound and this creation of vibration, right? Because that's really the angle you're coming from, is this vibrational healing modality. So let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I definitely want to thank you for creating that platform. I don't think we get to see our power, practice or exercise in our own, community. And I think that, for me, how the drum really it's an excellent resource when we talk about healing and using it for proactive health, this is my intention. And so, yeah, being in this space where we were giving, respecting that, we talk about the vibration and the sound, the drum. I think that when we talk about the drum, I always say this is the future.
Right.
I always say that, especially because we still don't really understand its fullest potential, right? But I think that we got to do a little bit of that in the transformation center there, using the drum as a source for listening.
Right.
Right, and I think that's where the real healing of the drum, when we listen to it,
Right. I mean, we used it as a transitioning tool, right? Because it was the sound of it that meant the time was up, experiencing your bite-sized modality, right? Because we had so many different tents that people were able to visit, and our objective was for everybody to visit each tent, and then there was you playing the drum. And rather bomba, and then of course we had DJ De La Ceiba, but the whole idea was just the synergy that was designed for all of us together, right? Right?
Yeah.
Right? It was really remarkable. I mean, I hope you guys can really appreciate like what we're trying to convey. I mean, you're watching it in your living rooms or wherever you're watching, even online. But the idea really is to just transmit the importance of that consciousness.
I think, and I want to include, like, we talk about bomba, like, that's the name of the drum, but it's also like that particular drum, why I use the bomba drum to initiate that connection. I think I look at it as, when they're trying to promote a record, you have to play it 1,000 times before people recognize it, right? Before it becomes popular. So I see this as the same thing. We're learning about this through our own experience. And so there's something that's intentional with the frequency of the bomba drum. That's really like that from my experience throughout the years, and I have over 40,000 hours of experience with this drum and how it impacts the community. What I have seen with elderly folks, what I have seen with children in the schools, especially the children in the schools. This is why I say the drum is the future, because we're not using it where I think that it could be more helpful when it comes to the education of our children, and how the drum can be a resource for education, not something just to beat on.
Right.
Right.
But it's also therapeutic too,
yeah,
right?
Definitely.
So I know there's the educational component, and as we've been discussing throughout the show, connecting to ancestry, and then there's the vibration, and then there's the action, and then there's the community that is formed around it, right? Because this is an instrument that serves as a communicator.
Yeah, it communicates, and more so, and how it communicates to us is very interesting, because being born and raised here in New York, never really understanding the connection to myself. So when I do this drum, it connects to me. So I think that's the other gift that it gives us, that we may not we may not realize that it's giving us a more clarity to our identity, and that's very attractive.
Right, clarity to our identity. And I just want the viewers to know that we keep referencing the drum, because the drum is actually here. He's going to be playing for us a little later. I know you guys can't see it right now, but you're going to see what we're talking about. And I really appreciate you referencing clarity, right? Because I think that's what we are trying to discuss here, is the clarity within our society, in what we've all basically have been dealing with collectively, on the amplification of the negative outcome has been at the forefront, and we're here to pretty much counteract that by offering these alternative healing modalities, as well as alternative conversations, because we're coming from a place of recognizing that, you know what, we're all going through something together.
You hit it big on that note, Rena, because going back to growing up, here in New York, and I grew up not seeing my people. It was the norm, not seeing yourself. This is being here alive today. What I have seen that has changed for us, really, that I think is big, is that finally we get to see our people.
Right.
The racial disparities that we have that keeps us in the dark.
Right.
That we don't realize what we have that is so special.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying, this drum is a big part of that has been oppressed, and finally we're getting to use it to liberate ourselves, to heal ourselves, to be positive.
I know, it's beautiful. Oh my gosh, you're getting all emotional on me. I can't take you.
It's life, man.
You've been doing a wonderful job working with the intergenerational aspect of it, which has also been the topic of discussion on today's show. I mean, you've taught elders to move. I've seen you. I've watched you.
Right. This thing, it's incredible what I've seen through this experience. Moving people that I never thought people getting up out of their wheelchairs just to give it a chance just because their body wants to move. We touched everybody with this, and I'm glad that we're able to give those elderly folks something that I think that they took with them, that they needed, and I know that
like
for
a
me,
reclamation of their ancestry.
Ooh,
Yes, we are having that conversation.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Feels great.
It
really
does. And I'm so happy you're here and you're going to share it with us here in studio, right? You're probably the second group of individuals that we've had live in person. So I'm really honored that you're going to bless the space for us.
Yes. We're gonna play a rhythm. I'm gonna play a yuba for us. And that's intentional, the yuba. I want to also give props to Dr. Milford Graves, passed away, but he was a big person studying the drum and neurology, and he was working with a neurologist and literally creating more information about the science of the drum, with the brain, and I think that's powerful.
Yes.
And outside of our culture, when that drum plays, it connects with every human being, right? And so this is the science of the drum that's so real for all of us.
Beautiful.
Right, and so that's what they're gonna hear. We're gonna hear that sound that you hear, just, just listen to it. Just listen to it and see what happens.
Deeply, yes. And we thank you for bringing here my
Yes.
brother,
Yes.
Dr. Drum. Happy birthday to you,
happy birthday,
hermano.
Rhina.
You guys don't go anywhere, because when we return, Dr. Drum is going to present some healing with the drum for us after the break. Hey everyone, welcome back to this special edition of Open Friday presents Transformation Stations. Please close your eyes as we enchant you with the sounds of Yuba and Quembe, presented by Dr. Drum. Gracias, hermano. Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. That was Dr. Drum, everyone. And for more information on him and his group, Bombayo, you can visit bombayo.org. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to you, our viewers, for tuning in to this special episode of Open Friday presents Transformation Stations, my birthday gift to you. We are living in a time in which we can all afford to arm ourselves with tools that teach us to be present to oneself and each other. And we hope that by introducing you to these alternative healing modalities, that you are touched, moved, and inspired to implement self-care practices into your daily routine, because you, me, we deserve it. So remember to take a pause and, most importantly, celebrate life. That's what it's all about, people. Let's celebrate each other. All right now, I'm Rhina Valentin, as always, from all of us here at Open. May the universe provide peace, prosperity, y amor.